Welcome to the Build Business Acumen podcast, where we deliver practical knowledge and powerful guidance. Here is your futuristic host, Nathaniel.
Today I'm interviewing someone called Ehsan Khodarahmi. He has worked for over 6 years for brands such as Sky and Samsung before making a brave move in 2015 to become an independent digital marketing consultant. In addition to his professional work, Ehsan is passionate about education and writing. He's even written his own book, and it's actually called Character, 100% Character. It's available on Amazon. As well, he's actually written over 60 articles published by the Huffington Post, on LinkedIn, and Social Media Expert, the British Chamber of Commerce, University of Westminster, Michigan State University, and Miami University use Ehsan's publications as reference material. Ehsan is a humble man and lives his life based on his own very simple philosophy. Say what you mean what you say. You can always reach out to Ehsan on Twitter at EKSAYS. Let's get into the show. Hey Ehsan, it's really nice to talk with you again.
Yeah, hi Nat. Thank you very much for having me.
No, I love content marketing. I'm right into writing content and doing podcasts and the occasional video and sort of stuff like this. But in terms of sort of content marketing, the most important thing is, well, two things, right? Is to build the audience, obviously, and obviously get the audience to do something, to do some sort of action, some sort of activity. So what are the best ways to build an audience with content?
In terms of content marketing, first of all, we need to define our objectives, what we want to achieve from content marketing. If we are going to sell through content marketing, we need to be absolutely clear to our audience and have right KPIs in place. But content marketing is more about storytelling. It's more about educating and informing our audience about our purpose. So we need to be able to track and we need to be able to interact with our audience. Dropping links everywhere, writing blog posts, writing articles, paying to ghostwriters to do that for us, or we do it internally. They're all great. But what we want to achieve and how effective that is. So the effort we are going to put into creating content, we need to step back for a second and define our objectives. So this is the starting point for creating meaningful content.
What sort of objectives are you referring to exactly?
Corporate objectives, business objectives, how relevant we are to our audience, in what market we are operating, and what sort of content our audience like to see. Are we writing to sell our products and services? So that is not content marketing. Or are we writing to engage and educate the market about our innovative products, great services? How are we going to differentiate ourselves? These are the kind of objectives we need to have in mind. We need to have KPIs. The impact on SEO, level of web traffic we get, social engagement, and of course, at the end of the day, sales leads. Do we get inquiries? Do we get people coming to us, ask us questions? So these are the kind of objectives we need to define. Based on that, go and create the right content, and use the right channel to do the distribution. Of course, we need to familiarize ourselves with attribution model in terms of what content drives the most traffic, what content is more engaging, what our audience, our community actually like the most, bring us the most business, if you like.
Measuring the effectiveness of content marketing, how do we actually do that then?
Again, I'll have to go back to our conversation just a second ago. By defining our purpose and objectives, what do we want to achieve? So we need to define our objectives. Whatever that is, KPIs. If it is reach, if it is, sales leads, if it is web traffic, what is it? So we need to define that. This is how we are going to measure it.
Okay.
When we set objectives, define our purpose, we know exactly what we want to achieve. Our audience is clear about it as well, because they know what to expect. And good content is the one that resonates with our audience. So that way we can measure it. How sticky the content is, the shareability across different social media channels, if it is republished on someone else's blog, if it is linked to, etc., etc. These are the ways we can measure the effectiveness of our content.
The objectives are set out in the beginning, right? And then measuring those objectives is quite simple, isn't it? I mean, it's a matter of how many leads we've got, how many clicks we've got, how many shares we have, how many people have seen that content, how many new followers we have, or Facebook fans, or
exactly. The more meaningful, the more relevant the content, the more effective that is. So you're not going to like a content which actually you don't like. You're not going to share it. You're not going to interact with it. Even if you click on the website, the link, and go to the website or to the blog, you see it, you see the first couple of lines, you say, okay, no, it's not the one I thought it is going to be. You're going to leave. So the bounce rate on the website is going to go high. That is going to have an effect on the SEO. So you're going to get some visits, and after that, you're losing your audience. Next time, when you share some content, people are not going to click on it, because you know what? It is just a clickbait. I'm not going to get what I expect it to be. So you're going to lose credibility that way. So it is very, very important to listen to people, to your audience, see what they want, and deliver exactly that.
How can businesses create leads and sales?
I think it was Content Marketing Institute. They reported over 78% of consumers are likely to purchase from a brand which shares personal relevant content to them, to those consumers. So it is very, very important to identify the needs of our market, our audience, potential customers, and write about their needs. So we are going to sell the solution of their problems. We need to kind of somehow connect with them in terms of what they are looking for. We have it for you. We need to work with micro-influencers, and micro-influencers are our existing employees or friends with a certain clout and expertise if they're in our business industry. That's it, really. We need to look into our local and national community to identify the leaders in our industry, connect with them, build partnership, collaborate with them.
Why would any business want to educate their customers and help the competition then?
This is an opportunity to show our customers why we are different to our competitors, why we are better. And of course, if you are teaching something to your competitors, you should be happy about it. People, that would open doors for us. Maybe competitors will become partners. Maybe someone out there is going to see our content and our initiatives to educate our customers, and are going to do more business with us. Customers are incredibly clever and savvy. They know which business is authentic, which business is doing better service both before and after sale. So customer service and client relationship management is the competitive advantage. So we shouldn't be worried about kind of educating our customers and our competition, because educating customers is much, much cheaper than spending money on marketing, advertising, and PR to get a customer. So let our competitors spend money on advertising and marketing. We are spending on educating our customers, helping them to make informed decisions. Because if we help them to make informed decisions, informed purchase decision, it is more likely for them to stick with us and refer more customers to us. So this is the power of responsible and a responsive business. And we can do that very well through content marketing.
So first of all, we want to find out what actually matters to the potential customer, right? Or the audience. And then we, in essence, work out the words that resonate with them and the content that resonates with them the most, and then we make sure that that's available on the platforms that they are visiting, right?
Exactly. We need to be 100% honest with them. This is something I'd like to call radical transparency, because that is the only way we can gain our audience's trust. If they trust us, we are halfway through. We can sell them more things. We can do more business with them. They know we are in business. And as long as we are honest, they'd like to continue doing business with us. Simple as that.
I've been doing a little bit of research recently. Been talking to a friend of mine over in New York. She's involved with a business that it's actually targeting people and the words that they want to hear. So what I mean by that is analyzing brand messaging and brand conversations. It's actually matching the words to the audience. So there'll be like a turnkey solution which will be available, whereby you can basically plug in your customer data and it will tell you what wording you actually need to be using versus the words that you are using, based upon who your customers are. So I'm quite excited. So it's going to break it down into even finer market segments of personality types.
Understanding the audience psychology is great. And by the sound of it, your friend has developed a system that brings AI into it, which is fantastic.
Yeah, well, it does. I mean, the problem with AI in general, or it has been that, you know, a lot of people have overhyped it, but actually to really hone it down and say, well, I'm going to use AI for this very specific thing is the way forward, you know. And so in terms of like your past work that you've done, I mean, I know you worked with Sky TV in the UK and you've done sort of various other stuff. What's the most exciting piece of content marketing that you've seen, or perhaps start with the most exciting piece that you've done?
The most exciting one was when I created Media House for a leading marketing technology platform. I was responsible for all aspects of their content marketing in Europe and managed a team remotely in America and in Canada. So I was responsible for over 50 pieces of content, long articles per week, and over 1,000 short content, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. So that was really exciting because I had to do the editorial, the mission statement for it, and create the media house and build a team around it. So that was really interesting, which I did about a couple of years ago. And the most exciting and interesting content marketing activities I see around is Red Bull. They do some really cool things. They go above and beyond anything you can imagine. They're a really clever bunch of people. And also IBM, especially around machine learning and artificial intelligence. So they do quite a lot of educational material. They do great content marketing to educate their audience.
But in terms of the one piece of content that you've seen, like that you've created or you've managed the creation of, what was your most fun?
I think we did one piece of content together just 4 months ago, around artificial intelligence and machine learning. So that was really interesting because that was the moment I tried to educate myself and learn a lot more about the technology and how it works and what it does. We used a number of different tools to do our research, just go on Google and search for things. So it was a combination of technology and also personal thinking and kind of going through the content and going through social media channels to see what people are talking about, how they interact and what they know about the topic. So that was the most exciting and interesting piece of content I worked on.
I really enjoyed working on that as well. We wrote a really long article, didn't we? It's somewhere around, I think it's on my website actually, it's somewhere about.
It was very well received. People really like it.
Yeah, it was. It was. So let's have a look. I've got another topic that I'd like to talk with you about, and that's corporate communications. You said to me before, it's such a wide topic that we can talk about all sorts of things. So corporate communications, and with regards to identifying your brand advocates, is what we decided we were going to talk about today. So what's your view on that?
In corporate comms, corporate communications, culture is incredibly important. More often than not, many organizations, many businesses confuse culture with office perks. We need to have a solid definition for culture. Then we come to corporate communications, because in communications, whether it is corporate, whether it is between individuals, understanding is key. We need to speak the language everybody understands, and we need to have set of values, common objectives. In terms of communicating the brand message, we always start internally, which is the responsibility of corporate comms department. Then it goes external. They do a lot of testing, a lot of thinking about how we are going to put the message out and how we are going to communicate certain messages with a wider audience. Through that interaction, through that communication, we can identify micro influencers. We can identify brand advocates, because influencers and advocates aren't living outside the organization. They're all inside the organization. How we are going to identify them? Through effective and systematic corporate communications. If people feel comfortable interacting with us, interacting with the corporate team, fantastic. This is how we are going to work with them, build a community of advocates. When we have advocates from our employees, from our staff, we are going to be more trustworthy in the eyes of our community, our audience, our stakeholders. This is how we are going to do it, by having effective communications and make it easy and comfortable for people to communicate with the department.
That goes back to you actually having a personality behind the corporate accounts, right? And actually having a sort of persona of not an individual, but actually of the company, right?
A company, what does company means? Company means group of people.
Exactly.
That persona, if we are going to create a persona for it, that's artificial. We need to identify what we as a group of people stand for, what we want, what do we want to achieve, what do we have to offer, what is it we are selling, what is it we are doing, why do we exist as a company. That is going to be the persona, that is going to be the character, the personality we need to shape and form. Because if you are going to fake it, we are not going to make it. It may take us for, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years. But after that, we are going to find ourselves in a crisis. We are going to see things backfire. Look at Facebook, for instance. It was in the news today. Almost 50% of numbers, Facebook announced we have 2 billion active users. They say almost 50% of them are fake. Technically, we have 1 billion. So who's saying the truth? What's going on? So for how long can we fake it? Eventually, people are going to find out about the truth. So it's better to be honest and transparent from day one, because that is going to make us more successful. The voice of the company is its employees. The face of the company is the CEO, is the leader of the business, and every single employee working for that business. Creating an image is very important, of course, but that image should be real. It shouldn't be fake. And how are we going to do it? Through total transparency. Being honest with people. People really like to hear, when they read something, they like to hear the voice of the author. You read a piece of content and you can hear the voice of the author. That author has done a great job.
Yeah, very much.
If you cannot hear that voice, that piece of content is artificial. And that means that content doesn't connect with you. And that is exactly the same thing with corporate comms and the image. You feel it. You feel it. There is something not right. So as soon as you have that feeling, that company may need to review their branding and their messaging through corporate comms.
Could it be that they haven't actually created a plan for the actual communications, or it needs just revisiting?
They certainly need to have a plan. Based on a plan, they hire people. Based on that plan, they run their campaigns and their marketing. So when they know exactly what they stand for, and that they make that the DNA of their culture, they know what kind of people they want to hire. They know who are going to be the future influencers, who is going to be in the community of advocates, and who is going to amplify that message externally before hiring those people. This is what corporate comms should be doing.
So first of all, you come up with the plan, okay, for the business, yeah? Then you've decided the kind of message that you want to get across, and then you basically find people that actually fit with that. I mean, I'm just saying this because it's something that I've noticed really with IBM, because I do a lot of work with those guys. They've actually got a team behind, like, quite a lot of the Twitter accounts. I mean, that's a major part of the IBM sort of comms, right? And I communicate on a daily basis with IBM Watson, IBM Watson Commerce, right? And what's really interesting is I've actually watched that team, and I've actually seen probably 2 or 3 people leave since I've been engaging with that Twitter account, and they are exactly the same kind of personalities when they've left. They're quite fun, they're engaging, and so forth. So that's it.
This is the personality of the individual you hire that gives personality and character to your brand. Your brand doesn't have personality on its own. People behind the brand inject that character and that personality to it. So whoever is running those Twitter accounts is going to show his or her personality. IBM's Twitter handle on its own doesn't have a personality. You can have a plan, you can have a checklist, all sort of things, and give it to 4 different people. And so, you know what, go and create the content, respond to whatever tweet or whatever Facebook updates you get. Those 4 people respond completely differently, with different tone of voice, with different attitude, with different words. But when you define your tone of voice and you tell them exactly how you want the messages to be communicated, you don't decide for them what words to use. You just tell them how you want to come across, how you want your brand to come across. Then those 4 people, they do more or less the same job. They deliver the same tone of voice for you. So this is also important.
Yeah, very much so. You would outline a series of words that would educate the team as to the tone of voice that you want. So you would say things like, you know, you want them to be happy but not too happy, or excited but not too excited. Is this the kind of method that you would use, or not?
No, I wouldn't choose any words for them, but I would certainly say avoid using negative keywords, because that would affect the sentiment as well. Also, the way the brand is going to come across. I would say be sympathetic towards negative comments, towards feedback, be more positive, embrace it, and deal with it accordingly. And also have some engaging characteristics during the day, if that makes sense.
What do you mean by engaging characteristic?
Don't be reactive. Don't wait for people to come to you. If you see people talking nicely about your brand or about something your business, your brand is doing, about your industry, interact with them, engage with them, comment on their articles, invite them to communicate with you. They may become your advocates.
Well, thank you. That's been really, really interesting. About visual communication. What do you know a lot about visual communication? You must do if you've gone and created all of this content. So where would you sort of, I mean, from from where I'm sitting, visual communication begins with a brand blueprint document. That's how I look at it. So much like a person, you would create a brand blueprint document, and you would define, obviously, what the business does, the key differentiators, the why they're different, and or better, and also what gives them authority and credibility. And you would also create, say, five cornerstone words that represent business or product. Once you've defined that, you would take that into the visual communications, wouldn't you?
Of course. People like to see things. They like to have interactive content in front of them. Text on its own can do only so much. But when they see the actual finished product, they see animations, they see videos, they see all those visual content, they would react completely differently, and they would engage better. That would definitely improve their interaction with the brand. And that's why we need good design. That's why we need good graphics and good visual in place, images. For services, a bit difficult, right, but still.
In terms of like the visual communication, I mean, you and I, we've seen, social media imagery go from people just sort of going to Shutterstock, choosing an image, putting some text on it to represent something based upon their own opinions, right? But what's happening now, as you well know, is, I don't work for IBM. I'm an influencer within the Futurist program. But I do know that they've partnered with Shutterstock, and they're actually using the Watson AI to sort the Shutterstock images for this product that they're basically selling. Yeah. So that is giving the marketers a much, much faster way to get their images ready, right? And get them out there. So it's so exciting to see where this is going to go in the next 6 months, year, 2 years, because I mean, I think sooner or later, the small businesses are going to get a heads up, and they're going to actually be able to do this very thing as well.
You're right. Using all those visual assets definitely help marketeers to communicate their brand messages better, to convert visitors to subscribers and customers. Definitely help, because you can tell a better story through visual. That's for sure.
Okay, well, thanks ever so much, Ehsan. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe, and wherever you prefer, share with your friends. And if you enjoyed the show, drop us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen.